So I'm just taking a stroll around the historic part of Vladimir in Russia where I live, and I want to talk about the 10 realizations that I've had since moving to Russia from the UK, because there's some things that you realize that you didn't really know about before until you moved here. And there's some things where you kind of suspected, but then when you're here you realize that, well, it's actually probably better or worse than you thought. I love this whole kind of black metal loft kind of look. It's really cool. The Soviet light up there. I really do like it. Just, I don't know. It's rustic. I bet at some point in time people would have seen something like this and wanted to change it and make it look more modern, whereas now it's cool to find things that look like this. So this is called the Cherry House. Interesting. It shows people how to make things from chocolate and things like that, just recipes and stuff. It's a museum of cherries. I love these steps, how they go up there. I guess they're just changing this now. This is like a summer cafe. We've got a few of these little courtyard areas. Pretty nice, aren't they? I don't know about the green though. And then this is another roof terrace. It's not open now, of course, but it will be in the summer. The first thing is the BBC lies, and it's probably known by everyone that they lie, or they exaggerate, or they show the negative aspects of things to do with life in the world, life in Russia, and of course life in the UK. But it's not until you get to somewhere like Russia, make sure I don't fall down the steps, that you realize how much they've been lying. Almost everybody that comes to Russia suspects that the BBC are not telling the truth about Russia. But when you get here, you're like, hang on a second, this is completely different to the painting that was painted by the BBC. And it is shocking. And it's not just with regards to Russia, it's with regards to what is happening in the world. When you travel, you meet so many different people from all over the place, and they tell you about their country or what it's like where they're from. And you start to realize that a lot of the places are completely different to the way that they're shown and portrayed on the BBC. And that's not just places, but specific things that are happening, like wars in the world. You see that they are completely different. The situation is completely different. And when I speak to all these different foreigners that live here, all of them say the same thing. They say, wow, the world is a different place to the one we were told it was. Over here we've got another summer cafe. Everyone's slowly starting to prepare for summer, hoping it's going to be a hot one. And I've just seen here, so here it says there's a, what's the word? It's kind of a place where a person makes things from leather. Let's see that. We've got the sewing machine outside. Should we try and go inside and see if they'll let us film? I don't know, they might do. Check out this shop. How cool is this? For some reason it doesn't seem to like my camera. All these things made out of leather. Unexpected. Whoa. Wow. This is really cool. I guess these are for your keys. I thought they were for knives. You've got your card holders and your wallets. Oh wow, really cool here. And then loads of bags and leather belts. Wow, I love it when I find places like this. This is brilliant. So interesting. This is very glamorous, isn't it? What about this one? I don't think I could use this one myself. Oh, I'm glad I found this place. This is really cool. I'm gonna have to get something for myself here. Wow, I'm pretty amazed. those bags were really cool in there. Gonna come back and grab one definitely as a gift for somebody. I wouldn't use it myself. They look really cool, but I'd like buy it, and what would be the point? So I need to find someone to buy it for now. That's the next step. How random is this? That is crazy. Some sort of container, and we've got a sledge locked up with it. That is crazy. So here it says antique shop and souvenirs. Let's go and have a quick look inside, see what we've got for sale there, if they'll allow us to film, obviously. Здравствуйте. Разрешайте снимать внутри? Конечно. Спасибо. Спасибо. So we've got all of these ornaments and things. Lots of things that you'll see at your grandma's. Maybe you'll see it at your grandma's house, right? And you'll think, oh, what is going on with the lighting today? Don't know why it's doing this flashing thing. It's all a bit weird. Is it LED lighting or something? Is that what's going on? This guy looks a bit sad, doesn't he? To be fair, these antiques, obviously we've got loads of shot glasses, I could probably get some of them, but typically I would never know where to put anything. I would, my house, if I was an antiques dealer, my house would just be full of junk. Well, I guess not junk, but whoa. I could make a video about a Russian tank and put this in it, couldn't I? Okay, let's have a look what's going on here. Walk over a little bit of mud. And look, we've got some really old school skis up there. And some really bad quality music coming out the speakers. And this says vintage Soviet Union stuff. Should we have a look? See if they'll let us film. Oh, I love these little doorways and stuff. They're really cool. Whoa. Здравствуйте. Разрешайте мне снимать? Можно? Спасибо. So check out all the badges. There's crazy amounts of badges here. Whoa. And look, we've got whole walls of them. Whole walls of all these different badges. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen so many in my life. That's mad. Perhaps I could open a business selling up these badges, selling these badges on my channel. What do you think? I think things like this would be popular, wouldn't they? Look. And we've got loads and loads of Soviet stuff. Loads of stuff. We could make a whole video in this shop, couldn't we, guys? Books, records, cameras. Anything and everything we've got here. Wow. The next realization is that England is ridiculously expensive. Like, just insane. Not just house prices, which are just mental, right? Absolutely crazy. It's not realistic for people to get on the housing ladder in the UK. Very difficult unless you've got an amazing job, an amazing salary, or some sort of investment behind you. And then other things, cars, products in the supermarket, food, Everything in the UK is ridiculously expensive now. The salaries in the UK on average are higher than in Russia. But in Russia, if you've got an okay job, then you're going to live 10 times better than you would do in the UK, because the house prices are realistic. For 150 grand in the UK, you can get a really rubbish house. For that same money in Russia, you can get a nice detached 3 or 4 bedroom house, brand new. And so that's the difference in prices, the supermarket prices. I do a whole week's, or a whole month, should I say, worth of shopping, and I spend probably 200 quid. And that's if I'm buying, like, you know, foreign goods. So the prices in Russia and in so many other countries around the world are so much cheaper than the UK. And it makes you think, why? Why is the UK got to be so expensive? So here we've got a shop selling honey. And so it's not just honey, it's honey drinks as well. And this is a famous honey drink from Russia called medovukha. So let's go and have a look inside and see what they've got in here. Look at that door handle. Oh, it's so warm in here. That is something I'm going to speak about next, I think. Let's see if they'll allow me to film. Obviously, I don't know. So we've got a table, you can sit here, and oh, they've even got a kettle there, which is nice. Здравствуйте. Разрешайте снимать? Можно? Да? Спасибо. And here we've got all the different things they make from honey. Wow. Look at this. And then we've got honey, traditional honey over there, and different teas that are made in the area. And then here we've got some gingerbreads, we've got some sweets, all sorts of things. And so when I went inside there, it was really warm. And that's something that in the UK is not normal. Whenever I go to the UK, if I go to my parents' house or I go to my friends' houses, they're always cold. And the reason they're always cold is because it costs so much to heat your home. And that is ridiculous that it should be costing so much to heat your home, because in Russia it is not expensive to heat your home at all. The chances are, if you live in an apartment, especially the old ones, the heating will always be on in winter. It's just on, always, and then they turn it off in summer because it's hot. And so in Russian winters, despite it being really cold, we leave the windows open because it's so hot in the houses. Whereas in the UK, we're shivering. My mum would always say to me, put another jumper on if you're cold. I'm thinking, wow, that's crazy now. Luckily for my parents, they now have solar panels, and they have a battery thing that stores the electricity so they can afford to heat the house a bit better. But why should it be so expensive? In the UK, heating is crazy expensive. In the UK, we're taught about the glorious NHS, about the socialist system of the NHS, which gives healthcare to all. But we're not told that healthcare is free in loads of countries. In Russia, healthcare is also free, but we don't have crazy waiting lists, we don't have people lying in corridors, we don't have any of that stuff at all. And the other thing, in Russia, we have private healthcare, which is very affordable. To go to a private polyclinic, it's going to cost you about 20-30 quid to go and see a specialist. If you want an MRI scan, it's going to take a couple of days waiting. You might even be able to get it done immediately, and it's going to cost you about 50 quid. And so the difference is incredible. Touching on healthcare, most Russians I know from the UK, they would travel back to Russia to go to the dentist, because Russian dentists do an amazing job at saving people's teeth. In the UK, they seem to care more about removing the tooth, and that's something that's really interesting, because so many Russian people would travel back here to go to the dentist once a year instead of paying a fortune in the UK. Because here, again, 50 quid. I went to the dentist to have a filling done. So they made the hole, filled it up temporarily. I went away for a couple of days, came back, they cleaned it, put another temporary filling on. Came back a couple of days later, put the permanent filling, altogether 50 quid. Imagine that. So here it says drinks hall, and we've got hot medavucha, we've got sbieten, we've got glintwijn, chai and coffee. So yeah, maybe I'll say it in English, right? We've just got wines, tea and coffee basically, and a honey drink. Let's go inside and have a look. We're going to have all sorts of other things inside, jams it says there, and sweet things, sweets and souvenirs. But let's go inside and have a look and see what is on offer. Ooh, that is a squeak. So here we've got a famous Russian drink. It's called sbieten. Basically it's like berries with honey. It's non-alcoholic. We've got all these different types here. Then we've got loads of traditional Russian sweets. Let's have a look up here. We've got honey. And jams. And then we've got teas. And then these are different types of creams, look. Interesting. So as you'll see, it's already dark on the street. I went into this souvenir shop and I chatted to the ladies that work inside for like an hour. Really cool people. Showed them how to download a VPN and all this stuff. Really nice people. There's a lady, Yulia, who works in one shop, and then in the other shop her mum, Yelena, works. But really nice people, and we're going to go back there and probably make a video another time. So it's probably going to be too dark to continue today. I'm going to have to make this second part tomorrow. It's completely dead here today. Completely dead because it's just kind of gloomy and cold outside. England has something that they didn't have when I lived there, and that's wokeism. Wokeism seems to be something that's been created to divide people, so that people can just constantly argue about what they think about a particular topic, and there's going to be some people that agree, some people that disagree, some people that half agree, and there's so many different topics, whether that be, you know, religion, whether that be politics, whether that be gender, whether that be, what else have we got here, sexual preference. There's so much wokeism with regards to races and all sorts of different topics that people just love to argue about, and they just constantly argue about it. You see loads of videos on YouTube and on Instagram of you know, crazy people that are either extreme against or extreme for. There'll be some people that get labeled because they're against it, some people get labeled in a positive way, some people get labeled in a negative way. It's just insane. And it really just seems as if this whole woke culture has been created to punish people who have an opinion that kind of differs to the mainstream opinion. And because there's a specific opinion which is promoted by the BBC and by the government, and if people say things that are different to that, then they get the labels. Once they get labeled, they can't get rid of that label. It can ruin your life, it could make you lose your job, and it's just insane. And the crazy thing here is we don't have that at all, none of it. And it's like night and day. And so that is one of the things that's happened to my beloved United Kingdom over the last 20 years since I've been here, and I'm very lucky that I don't have to have that as a part of my life every day. The fear of saying or doing something to which my opinion could be taken as offence, and therefore somebody could be upset about something that I've said that wasn't intentional, but either way, whether it's intentional or not, they took it as an offensive way. and therefore they became upset, and then they feel angry, and then perhaps they're going to possibly try and turn it into a criminal case against me. Whoa, I don't have any of that, and that's one of the reasons why the UK has gone crazy. And if you're someone that watches my channel a lot, then you'll know that I love this area here to walk around and hopefully potentially speak to some people. So this next one is a weird one, because I love English food and English recipes and English junk food and English crisps and chocolates and kebabs and all those things in England. However, food quality in Russia is so much better. Russia doesn't have GMO, so Russia's food is fresh food that's grown properly, and that makes a huge difference. The quality of the meat, the quality of the vegetables, you can see and feel the difference in the quality of food that you eat when you go to the UK. When I go there to see my family, to see my friends, I'm surprised at how much more processed and packaged food there is there. When I see the quality of food that my friends eat here in Russia, they're not people that care about, you know, eating fast food. Every now and again they'll eat fast food, but it's not like a typical thing. Russians have a first course, second course and a dessert. You often, if you go to a Russian restaurant, you'll go there for what's called business lunch, and business lunch is going to be a starter, soup or salad, main course and dessert with a fruit drink. And that's just a typical thing that you can have at a canteen or at a restaurant or a cafe. And so Russians eat much more healthy, and the products, the food products, are healthier. Now, of course, Russian people grow their own food. Russian people have what are called dachas and allotment or garden settlements, and these garden settlements are essentially a plot of land where they'll grow vegetables and fruits. Some of them will have chickens or livestock, and essentially at these places they will go there for the summer months and they will grow their own fruit and vegetables. And in the UK this used to be a thing until, I guess, just after, or maybe 10 years after the Second World War, when all of the rations stopped and lots of products arrived in the supermarkets, and now not so many people will grow their own vegetables and fruits, whereas in Russia it's a normal thing. And you'll go to someone's house as a guest and they'll say, these were grown in my dacha. A lot of my friends, they will have, I guess, fermented foods where they'll have pickles and tomatoes and things like mushrooms, which Russians pick in autumn, late summer and autumn in the forests, and then they ferment them in pickles and juices and vinegar and then eat them throughout the year. One of my good friends, his mum makes amazing tomatoes, and we all wait the season where the tomatoes are grown, and we get these tomatoes and they're so sweet. It's amazing. It's almost like they taste of sugar. The quality is so good. And so Russian people often, they'll have a village house or a dacha, or at least a shed on a plot of land called a garden settlement where they'll grow their own food. And obviously we don't have this in the UK really. And you can just see the church sticking out. So one thing that Russia has that the UK definitely doesn't have, and that is that foreign people want to integrate into society and be accepted by the rest of the population. In England, we know that this isn't a thing. We know that, obviously, right, if I came to Russia and there was millions of British people and they only spoke English, then I wouldn't need to try and learn Russian, try and learn about Russian customs and cultures and try and fit in and be accepted, because I could be accepted by my own community living here. But it isn't like that here. All the foreigners that come here, they come here and want to learn about Russian cultures, Russian traditions, Russian values, Russian language, Russian music, Russian history, Russian songs. They want to take part in Russian sports, they want to take part in Russian events, things that Russian people do. And that sets Russia apart from the UK, because in the UK we know what it's like, right? we live in that life. We know that it's multiculturalism, but at the same time multiculturalism isn't really working, because a lot of people that come to the UK for the benefits of the UK, but they don't really want to follow any of the traditions, the culture, the language, any of the things that the UK is known for. So this bird box has been made by looks like some sort of box celebrating Christmas or something. But in fact in the UK it's the opposite that's true. In fact, the British people have to almost accept the cultures of the people who are coming to Britain as guests, and are more worried about offending them. And that's just insane, right? That's crazy. Of course it's good to be a good host, right? But at the same time, you're a host in your country, and people coming to your country should try and fit in with you, your country, your customs and your culture, and not the other way around. Whereas in the UK, because of woke culture, people are scared to impose their customs and cultures on people who are coming as guests, and worried that they'll get labelled if they do. In Russia, there's no way I'm going to walk around and protest against things I don't like about Russia as a foreigner and expect Russian people to take on my traditions and culture. That's not going to happen. And so this makes Russia a completely different country to the UK. British people, or foreign people in Russia, are grateful to Russia and to Russian people for accepting us and allowing us to learn about their traditions and cultures, and allowing us to take part in their country, their society. Transport in Russia is cheap, it's efficient, it's reliable, and it's easy. Getting around is just easy. We have brand new high-speed trains, we have this brand new road, the M12, that's going all across Russia. Okay, it's a toll road, but this means the quality of the road is always good. Not like in other countries, right? So we have this amazing toll road, we have high-speed trains, we have cheap buses and trolley buses. And so this makes getting around Russia, even though Russia's a massive country, getting around it very easy. In the UK, wow, I don't even want to get started about it really. Something that a lot of people overlook, and that is the health of Russians. Now, I know that Russian people generally on average have been proven to not live as long as people in other countries around the world. But if you look and you walk around, just come here for a week and walk around and try and count the amount of overweight people, you're not going to see overweight people. You just don't see them. Russian women especially, they're slim, they're healthy, they care about their figure. Russian men, maybe they get to a certain age, they start to let themselves go. But generally, you know, I'll go out with my mates and we'll go for a barbecue, it'll be really hot, everyone will take the tops off and people will be ripped, and I'll be like, what? How did that happen? Typically the foreigner is always the most unhealthy looking out of the group, which is really interesting. And I guess as maybe in 50 years time, right, the average life expectancy for Russians will increase. I guess it's been low because of the problems that Russia has had, the Soviet Union, the 90s, you know, it's been difficult periods in Russian life, and so therefore the average life expectancy has been lower. But as Russia is changing and developing, blimey, as Russia is changing and developing, you're seeing a whole different breed of Russian people. Russian people that care about health, about sport, about eating the right foods, about making sure that they don't drink a lot. And Russian people generally are healthy and fit. They attend gyms, they do lots of sports. They have a thing which is like a morning stretch where all Russians do it. It's really weird. You know, you'll stay somewhere, maybe at a hotel, and the Russian person will go up for their recharge, that's what they call it, a recharge, and they'll go and do their stretches and go for a walk before they start their day. Something that I doubt many people in the UK do. And then finally, Russian people lead outdoor lifestyles. Now obviously in the UK some people will lead outdoor lifestyles. They'll go camping and do things that, you know, kind of swimming and things like that, hiking. But in Russia, pretty much everyone leads an outdoor lifestyle. You'll notice at the weekends, everyone is leaving the cities. The queues on the roads are to leave the cities in the weekends on Fridays and Saturday mornings, and then there's queues to get back into the towns on the Sunday evenings. And that's because the Russian people are going out of town for the weekend. They're going to their dachas, they're going to the village, they're going camping, they're going hiking, they're traveling to different places, because the Russian people are leading outdoor lifestyles. And that is something that I really love. No matter where you live, whether you're in a village, in a city, you're doing barbecues, you're going swimming, you're going camping, you're making campfires, you're singing next to the campfire, you're doing all of these things, these outdoor activities that I really, really enjoy. And obviously they also look after your health at the same time. So they are the 10 realizations that I had about Russia after moving here from the UK. 10 things that I probably didn't realize were going to be things, but they are things. I'll probably throw in another one, and that's that Russian people eat healthy breakfasts. A lot of the time Russian people don't know what they're going to have for breakfast. I find that interesting because I have cottage cheese, Greek yogurt and berries, either blueberries or raspberries for breakfast, and I didn't used to have that in the UK. But Russian people generally kind of like wake up and think, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? Let's open the fridge and see what we can cook, which is interesting because in the UK we have set breakfasts. And I remember in my childhood we would have Frosties and Cocoa Pops and what else? Rice Krispies was one, and we'll put loads of sugar on the top and loads of things like that. But Russians generally don't have that. It's porridge, it's eggs, sausages, perhaps a sandwich with meat, things like that. Different lifestyle entirely.